Miss Rachel here. I just wanted to start off by telling you all how much I miss seeing you all at church. I know these times are really weird and it's very important that we all stay safe, but I do hope to see you soon. And I'm really excited that I get to bring some videos to you and hopefully you all will enjoy them. So I'm going to do a series that I'm going to call Science with God. So each video I make, we're going to start with a little science experiment, and then we're going to have a Bible lesson. So these science experiments, before we start every time, I will let you know whether they're safe for you all to do at home. And if they are safe, just make sure you have your parents to help you. So the experiment we do today, it's not dangerous in any way, it can't hurt you, but it is messy, so make sure you have your parents. So all we need today for the experiment is a little tiny cup. This is a cup that I think it had some peaches in it. You need some white vinegar and you need some baking soda. Really simple. So first we're going to take our vinegar and maybe fill this little cup a third of the way full. All right. So now once you do that, we're going to take our baking soda and we're gonna dump some of the baking soda into this vinegar and we're gonna see what happens. Whoa, so what's happening? We made some foam stuff and it bubbled out over the cup. So this baking soda reacts with the vinegar and it makes lots of little bubbles and they come over the top. So today our lesson is going to be about love bubbling over. So we're going to read a story from the Old Testament. It's actually in the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible. And it's about a man who loved his son so much that he gave him a special gift. And everybody around him knew that this man loved this one son more than everybody else. So we're going to be in chapter 37 and start in verse 2. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with the brothers. Now Jacob loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. So tell me, how do you think all the brothers felt knowing that their father Jacob loved Joseph more than them? I mean, that probably wouldn't feel very good, would it? I mean, how would you feel if your parents or somebody you loved maybe your brother or your sister or a friend more than they loved you? It wouldn't feel very good, would it? So now we're going to jump to verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaf stood round about me, and bowed down to my sheaf. And his brothers said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brothers, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bowed down to me. Now, what would you say if someone you knew and maybe didn't like all that much? What would you think if they said, Hey, I had a dream that you're going to bow down to me? Would that make you mad? I mean, it would probably make me a little mad. And that's how these brothers felt. They were not happy with Joseph. How dare he say that they were going to bow down to them? So let's move on to verse 12. And his brothers went to feed their father's flock. And Jacob said unto Joseph, Do not your brothers feed the flock? Come, I will send you unto them. And when they saw him far off, even before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. And they said one to another, "Behold, this dreamer comes. Come now therefore, and let us kill him, and cast him into some pit. And we will say, some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." So clearly from these verses, we can tell that Joseph's brothers were not happy with him. So what were they planning on doing? Right, they were wanting to kill Joseph. So let's see what happens. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, "Let us not kill him." And Reuben said unto them, "Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him again unto his father." So, who wanted to help Joseph? His name was Reuben. And Reuben was actually the oldest brother in this family. So he didn't want Joseph to get hurt. So he told the other brothers, let's throw him in this pit. And then he was going to leave and come back later and rescue Joseph. But let's see what actually happens in verse 23. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brothers, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked. And behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brothers, "What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh." And his brothers were content. So Reuben was gone at this point. So what did the other brothers decide to do? They had already thrown him in a pit, and then what happened? They sold him into slavery, basically. They saw some men coming down that were traders, and they sold him into slavery with these people. So let's see what happens in the end of this story. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brothers and said, "The child is not, and I, whither shall I go?" And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a goat, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it off to their father, and said, "This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no." And he knew it, and he said, "It is my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces." So they ended up selling him into slavery, but then they had to cover their tracks. So what did they do? Well, they took his coat, they ripped it into pieces like it had been shred by a wild animal, and covered it in blood. So what do you think Jacob, the father, thought when he saw this coat of many colors? Well, he probably thought, his son is dead. I mean, what else would he think? Surely he wouldn't think his other sons would sell him into slavery. So now Jacob thinks that Joseph is gone. So, in this story, we talked about Jacob and Joseph. And Jacob was a man who very obviously loved his son Joseph more than anybody else. And what did he give Joseph? He gave him this coat of many colors. And he didn't give a coat to any of the other brothers, just Joseph. So, a coat of many colors proved that Jacob could not contain his love for Joseph. So tell me, how much do you love God? Do you love God so much that it bubbles over and other people can see it? That you're always worshiping God and saying how much you love him? So here's something for you to think about this week. What are some ways that you can show how much you love God? So in our experiment today, we made some bubbles foam, and it bubbled out of this cup. So the foam could not be contained in this tiny little cup. Just like Jacob's love for Joseph could not be contained. So, can your love for God be contained in a tiny little cup? Or will it spill over to show others how much you love God? I I thank you all for listening, and I'll be making some more videos soon, and I really hope you enjoy. Have a great week. Love you guys.